Shen Yunzhi was once lost in the fog of love. She mistook a scumbag for her true love, but she severely injured Runze, who was sincere to her. However, fate gave her a chance to come back again. In this life, she was determined to use all her love to make up for her past mistakes. Wife, actually you can speak more tactfully. But it's best to show off, I like it. Baby, can you please stop tempting me? Shen Yunzhi didn't understand that she just wanted to make him happy and follow him, so how could she seduce him? Alas, she is really unpredictable about a man's heart. She was also really afraid that this man would be in heat again in broad daylight. Okay, A's, let's go quickly, maybe they are waiting for us. It's their blessing to let them wait, so that anyone can see my baby. His wife cares so much about other people's feelings, it's time to say that he really loves her to death. Shen Yunzhi certainly didn't know what was going on in Runze's mind, otherwise she would have complained about this love brain again. Yan Chen, who is Mr. Fu's work assistant, life assistant, errand runner, and single, really wants to say, Mr. Fu, I have been waiting for you and your wife outside for a long time, can you come out? Singles' lives matter. But he didn't dare to show it in front of Runze. After all, Mr. Fu gave him a lot of annual salary. In addition, you can often see the madam's beauty in her prime, and you can also eat their dog food from time to time, so your life is quite good. After all, who doesn't like to kowtow to a CP these days, let alone a CP with such good looks. The young couple came out slowly and finally got in the car. And Yan Chen also had the foresight to raise the partition in the car again. Partition. It is somewhat overused for my use. Shen Yunzhi's but barely touched the seat of the car when she got into the car. Runze directly pulled her over and sat on his lap, and couldn't help but kiss her. Stop, can you calm down for a moment? I kiss you every day. You have to learn to restrain yourself from all these things, otherwise you will get tired of it. Shen Yunzhi really couldn't stand his constant kissing. The problem is, regardless of occasion or time, although she also likes this, but she is still a girl after all, and she still blushes from time to time and is at a loss. I'll never get tired of it. I'll never get tired of it. Can't control it. I'd go crazy trying to hold back. Shen Yunzhi really wants to curse. Are you the only one who has restrained himself? Baby, can you just give me a little kiss? Please, baby. Shen Yunzhi really couldn't stand his coquettish behavior. If a man with a successful career, a good figure and great looks keeps calling you baby and begging you to kiss him, no one can refuse him. Just a kiss, After hearing her answer, Runze blocked her lips directly. As for what she said, just a kiss. As long as he didn't leave her lips, it wouldn't be over, right? He is really smart. He was kissing her a little too fiercely now, and you could faintly hear the sound of water stains. He pried open Shen Yunzhi's lips, his tongue was entangled with hers and refused to separate, and his hands were not honest enough to reach into her clothes. But why can't I get through this clothes? Shen Yunzhi seemed to feel the position of his hand and couldn't help laughing. She forgot to tell him that she was wearing a dress today. But if you don't stop kissing anyone you ask him to, you should teach him a lesson. A's, I told you to kiss her. You're still going too far. Her face was red at the moment, and she was talking to him like a baby. At this moment, Runze felt like he could stage a blockbuster movie in the car right away. Shen Yunzhi also noticed the look in Runze's eyes at this moment. She was really afraid that he would do it in the car regardless of everything, so she quickly straightened her skirt and sat down to the side. We're almost there, she said in a pretense of relief. Runze also knew what she was thinking about at the moment. If it weren't for the fact that she would have to meet people later, Runze would really want to try what it feels like to be in the car. Oh, if it's too late today, there will always be a chance. Shen Yunzhi calmed down, but suddenly she became a little nervous. Although she and A's were very happy now, his friends really knew that she did not want to see Runze in her previous life. So she is still a little nervous about facing these people now. But after all, this was her own fault and she should be responsible for it. Runze seemed to feel the little girl's mood at this moment, but he didn't quite understand why the little girl suddenly felt wrong. Could it be that she also wanted to continue in the car? He would be a little confused about the little girl now. He had no choice but to hold her hand, hug Shen Yunzhi completely, and kiss her forehead gently. Baby, what's wrong with you? I'm a little nervous. Su did not expect the little girl's answer, and Fu Runze didn't know what she was thinking. Why are you nervous? I have everything. No matter what the little girl is nervous or afraid about, she just feels uncomfortable, so he should tell her not to be nervous or afraid about anything, because he will always stand by her side unconditionally, without exception. Shen Yunzhi is not a very delicate person. When she felt Fu Runze's concern, she immediately felt that she was too sensitive. No matter what, let's make peace with it as it comes. Anyway, she would never let go of Fu Runze's hand again in this life. Soon they arrived at the place they agreed on. The moment Fu Runze took her little hand and pushed open the private room, everyone in the private room looked at the door expectantly. When they saw clearly who the woman beside Fu Runze was, everyone's smiling faces suddenly froze. No, I just know that Fu Runze finally has someone who loves him, but who can tell them that this person is Shen Yunzhi? Others may not know it, but their brothers, as Fu Runze's good brothers, certainly know about the past between them, and they also understand Shen Yunzhi's indifference towards Fu Runze. Is it too late to reopen? She felt that something was wrong with the atmosphere in the private room, and understood that it was like this because of her arrival, so it was up to her to break the ice. Hi, I am the A's wife you want to meet. You don't need to introduce yourself, after all, we have heard of each other more or less. I know you must have a lot of doubts, but we are here to meet today. How about we go in and chat slowly? The people on the other side probably thought it made sense after hearing this. Anyway, they would definitely not let her hurt their brothers again today. When they were all seated, Fu Runze suddenly said, "Introduce yourself to my wife. Just your name, don't say anything else, she won't listen." I understand that you are possessive, but is it really okay to be so direct? In fact, Fu Runze couldn't help it for a long time. When he felt their attitude towards Shen Yunzhi, he wanted to speak, but Shen Yunzhi kept holding him back to prevent him from talking. Hello. I am Shen Yunzhi, and I really need to get to know you. Although I probably know you all, it may still be a little vague. Okay, having said that, it is indeed a bit too much for them not to give me any more face. The man who had been silent since he came in spoke first. My name is Shen Yunzhi. It's really just introducing the name. Mu Chen, despite his cold face, he is actually a funny guy. His family also ran a company and his father was the one who inherited it, so he is serious about his words. You can make all his jokes as you please. Shen Yunzhi just wants to say at this moment, can you coax your wife to stop making fun of me? I'm Runze. I won't say much else. If you have any intentions, just speak up. Please don't harm the third brother again, okay? Shen Yunzhi looked at the slightly immature face in front of her, and she probably knew in her heart that he was the person who is outspoken and dislikes himself the most. At this moment, Runze just wanted to say that he was so happy when he learned that the third brother had brought back the beauty in his arms, but he happened to forget that the third brother only liked the woman Shen Yunzhi. The biggest reason was that he felt in his heart that Shen Yunzhi could not like Fu Runze. You don't need any introduction. After all, I just met you not long ago. Shen Yunzhi nodded slightly to show that he understood. But she was a little strange. If nothing else happened, she would probably see someone again today. She turned to look at Fu Runze with curious eyes. He hasn't come back yet. I'll introduce you to him when he comes back. A certain Mr. Fu said so, but he didn't think so in his heart. His wife actually thought of another man, and he wouldn't introduce her to other people. Just stay on whichever side is cooler. Now that the introduction was almost complete, Shen Yunzhi didn't want to waste time and went straight to the point. What do you want to ask? Tell me. If she said that, Runze would be very excited. Shen Yunzhi, what are your plans? We all know your attitude towards third brother. Please spare him and stop harming third brother. After hearing this, Fu Runze couldn't help but want to refute, but at this moment his little girl held him down to prevent him from speaking. I know you are unhappy with me because of my past. I cannot defend my past, because that is the fact that is out in the open. Guizhou was someone I liked before. Although I liked him because I misunderstood some things, I did have feelings for him. I like freedom and being unrestrained, so when Fu Runze forced me to stay with him, I couldn't accept it, and I treated him coldly for 2 years. I don't think it's wrong for me to do this, because in my opinion, if I have no feelings for a person but am forced to stay with him, I will never be able to have a good face towards that person. It has nothing to do with whether I like someone or not, and it has nothing to do with who I hate. But Fu Runze has been changing my mind. He respects me, treats me very well, and understands many of my quirks, so sooner or later I will be attracted to him. As for Gu Yizhou, I have to reiterate that no matter what reason I noticed him, I have to admit that I did like him. It is precisely because of this feeling that I have a filter for him. I always think that he is the beautiful and inviolable person in my imagination. So my judgment in some aspects is biased. I actually liked Fu Runze a long time ago, but because I was stubborn and I had tinted glasses for him, I have never been able to recognize my own heart. I once thought that I had caused him so much pain, so I should just let him go and wish him happiness forever. But we are not him, we don't know what kind of happiness he wants, and we have no right to make decisions for him. After I understood my own feelings, I finally realized how bitter it is to be loved but not getting it, so I wanted to make him sweet. Let his unrequited love become what he wants, and let him be with the person he likes for a lifetime, and the person he likes also happens to like him. Therefore, if I want to stay with him forever, it's because I want it, not because I want it. Shen Yunzhi kept looking into Fu Runze's eyes when she said this. Finally, she could say all the words that she could not say in the previous life. Finally, her Ace was happy. Fu Runze didn't expect that his little girl would say such words. At this moment, his excitement was beyond words. Although he has completely understood his Aji's feelings, he still can't help but be moved when he hears her sincerely. It turns out that the person he loves also loves him so hard. Everyone in the room fell silent immediately. They all understood Shen Yunzhi's attitude in the past, and they all listened carefully to Shen Yunzhi's words today. They could feel Shen Yunzhi's sincerity, and they all hoped that their brother could find a good home. After all, the feeling of not being able to love is really uncomfortable. Nothing else. As long as the brothers feel happy, they have nothing to say. I understand what you said, so I hope you will actually do what you say. Lin Yi's was no longer entangled at this moment. As long as you are happy, bro, of course, I will always be by his side. Now that the young couple are here and they have spoken so straightforwardly, no one has any intention of holding on to them anymore. So we fell into an embarrassing situation where whoever spoke would die. Shen Yunzhi really couldn't stand such a scene, so she couldn't help but said, "How about we play a game to get excited?" Everyone turned to look at her at this moment, which made her a little stressed. "I'm just making a suggestion. I don't know what to play. If you don't want to, forget it." She just wanted to lighten the atmosphere, but if it didn't work, let it go. Okay, I'll do what you said. As for what to play with, just tell me from the bottom of my heart. Lin Yi's also followed her words. It's okay to tell the truth, this is an old game, but why is there no big adventure? Shen Yunzhi said she didn't know. Ahem, that's settled. Lin Yi's touched his nose and said uncomfortably. Who dares to take risks? If he offends his third brother, will he still survive? The rules of the game are not difficult, it is a very simple card game, just draw cards normally. But can anyone come to save her? Why does this card always come to her hand? The woman who touched the king again was on the verge of crying. After just playing a few games, everyone's atmosphere became more lively, and the questions they asked gradually became bolder. They discovered that Shen Yunzhi was really capable of joking, and Lin Yi suddenly had some naughty ideas. Sister-in-law, what do you think of third brother's skills in bed? Shen Yunji's face turned red when she heard this question. How should she answer it? But others were looking forward to her answer. She slowly raised her head and took a peek at Fu Runze, and found that he was also looking at her with a half-smile. Forget it, give it a try. He's very persistent. It's over, I'm too embarrassed to see anyone. The two brothers really didn't expect her to speak so directly, so they couldn't help laughing. Hearing their laughter, Shen Yunzhi felt even more embarrassed. She felt even more embarrassed when she saw Fu Runze laughing at her. Fu Runze really didn't expect the little girl to say such a thing. He also knew that the little girl was thin-skinned and didn't dare to smile too much. He stretched out his hand to pull her into his arms, and felt the little girl burying her head in his arms in embarrassment. Fu Runze felt his heart melt when he looked at her little one. Look at them still laughing. Shen Yunzhi's muffled voice came from his arms. Okay, I told them to stop laughing. Don't laugh. Third brother, do you know it's hard to hold back your laughter? If I were not afraid that you would drive us to Africa, I would have to laugh today. Just thinking about it, Lin Yi's didn't dare to say it out loud. Xiao Mukin was holding it in at the moment. When he saw his sister-in-law looking at him, he just wanted to say, "Don't look at me." The third brother is right. I am just a funny guy. If you look at me again, you really can't hold it in. This matter was temporarily overturned under Fu Runze's pressure, but there was still another round. Shen Yunzhi, who had drawn the king again, really wanted to cry. Of course Fu Runze understood why she was tricked again and again. Of course someone was playing tricks. But he did want to tease this girl. I'm so sorry, sister-in-law, it's you again. Let's just ask a simple question this time. She doesn't know why she always feels that this problem must not be simple. Tell me all the nicknames that third brother has called you, all of them. Oh, this time it's for Fu Runze. However, they are indeed curious about what kind of dog the usually cold-faced President Fu will become if he really gets the death of his beloved. He called me a lot, like, A's, I told you. Shen Yunzhi glanced at Fu Runze worriedly. If you want to say it, say it. I will definitely admit it. She was also determined to tease Fu Runze and see how this bitch would react. He called me, Ji, wife, daughter-in-law, baby, be good, besides elder sister, that's all I can think of right now. Elder sister. Fu Runze actually called her sister? Xiao Mukin really couldn't pretend to be cold at this moment. He called you sister? Fu Runze, you really don't have any shame. Perhaps she didn't expect that Xiao Mukin would suddenly make a sound, and Shen Yunzhi was startled. He is probably just as funny as A's said. Fu Runze was not angry when he heard everyone's doubts. Instead, he looked at Shen Yunzhi with a smile. It seemed that his wife quite liked this title. The more you bark in the future, the more meat you will eat. Although his baby indulges him every time he wants it, what's wrong with calling me sister? I call her whatever she wants to hear. Hearing this, everyone couldn't sit still and exclaimed, Old Fu, you are so shameless. At this moment, no one cares about what Shen Yunzhi did in the past. With such a slut in front of him, they are probably thinking about how to deal with him every day. Shen Yunzhi didn't expect Fu Runze to be so shameless, so she deliberately glared at him, only to find that Fu Runze had been looking at her. This made her feel a little uncomfortable. She whispered to him, Why do you keep looking at me? Because we don't see enough. I ascended enough to be together every day? She said she didn't understand very well, but she felt that her A's was so good-looking and she couldn't get enough of it every day. Baby, are you tired from playing? Lin Yi's was quite speechless at the moment. He had only been playing for a while, and the third brother was afraid that his wife would be tired. Well, little sister-in-law, please don't worry about third brother, let's continue to play with us. They still want to hear more gossip. After all, the opportunity is only once. Seeing that third brother treasures her so much, will he let her out in the future? Don't even know. Shen Yunzhi was also a little drunk at this moment. In addition, she had just drank some wine, and her drinking capacity was very poor. She was a little dizzy now, but she was even more excited. Yes, you are right, A's, just let me play for a while. She stretched out a finger to gesture towards Fu Runze, and her soft tone made Fu Runze unable to say any more words of rejection. Okay, just playing for a while, wife. Wife. Shen Yunzhi suddenly blushed at the word wife. This dog man shows no shame in front of everyone. They played for a while, and Shen Yunzhi didn't get any questions these times. She also lamented that she was lucky. A's, it's not me. Fu Runze looked at her with a doting look on his face. The baby will have good luck throughout his life. Hearing Fu Runze suddenly say this, she couldn't help but froze for a moment. She suddenly felt an indescribable feeling and instantly wanted to cry. But it wasn't good in this public place. She buried her face in Fu Runze's arms, and Fu Runze thought she was tired. Baby, let's go home. Good. Fu Run stopped immediately when he heard the good word, because the little girl's faint cry also reached his ears. He picked up Shen Yunzhi, walked out of the box, and said, by the way, my wife is tired, let's go first. Everyone who saw this operation was shocked. This torture of the dog must be too cruel. What just happened? Only 3 straight men like steel were left messy in the wind. Thank you to the little fairy Yaya, I am so touched that she generated electricity for me. Fu Runze carried her into the car, and Yanchen raised the partition with great foresight. Seeing Shen Yunzhi's red eyes, Fu Runze didn't know what was wrong with her, but he still felt distressed and wiped her tears. Baby, why are you crying? He needs to figure out what makes his baby sad so that he can better avoid it in the future. Shen Yunzhi herself felt that she was a bit pretentious at the moment and adjusted her mood. I don't want to cry. It's just what you just said that made my nose suddenly sore. What did he just say? Is it the saying that babies will have good luck for a lifetime? He couldn't help but laugh. So do you think I can't do it? Or will you be unlucky? This damn straight man broke the sensational atmosphere just like that. I don't think you can't do it, and I'm not afraid that I will be unlucky, because meeting you is the greatest luck I have ever had. Perhaps he didn't expect that Shen Yunzhi would say such a thing. Now it was Fu Run's turn to be stunned. Today, he couldn't help but feel heartbroken when he heard Shen Yunzhi say that he had liked Guizhou before, but meeting him was the biggest problem for her. Are you lucky, Mrs. Fu? You seem to be very good at making Mr. Fu happy. There's no coaxing, it's all real feelings. Yes, anyone would feel lucky to have someone who loves him so much, and what she felt even more lucky was that she really liked Fu Runze. No, she loved him very much. Fortunately, she didn't live up to his deep affection. Fortunately, she had such a good person by her side. Fortunately, she would stay with him forever. Fu Runze, I love you. She looked directly at him, and the love in her eyes seemed to be spilling out at this moment. Me too. Fu Runze couldn't help but kiss her lips gently, and both of them were seriously engaged in this performance about love. Until Shen Yunzhi was defeated first and couldn't help but say, this bitch seized this opportunity and sneaked in. He stopped pretending and revealed his true self, like a wolf who wanted to devour everything the girl had. Shen Yunzhi was forced to endure it, and Fu Runze didn't let her go until she felt she was a little hypocrite. After a while, Fu Runze got home and took her down directly to the room. Baby, he called, using his hands to unzip the dress from her back. The kiss fell bit by bit, and in the end he suddenly stopped. Shen Yunzhi looked at him with wet eyes and confusion. When he saw him pulling open the bedside table, he said with an annoyed look, there are only 2 left. Shen Yunzhi's face is burning red at the moment. At this point, it's impossible not to do it, right? How about you show some restraint and do it twice? Fu Runze raised his head and glanced at her, as if to say, do you think this is possible? I'm going to buy it now. What? She was feeling uncomfortable right now, and he still wanted to buy it. Actually, it's okay not to wear it. We're both married. She blushed and whispered. It is estimated that Fu Runze also feels that it is a bit rude to go shopping now, but he does not want to put his baby at risk of pregnancy due to such an accident. After all, giving birth to a child requires negotiation, especially the consent of Shen Yunzhi himself. Although she said yes now, but Fu Runze didn't want her to make such a casual decision because she loved him. Baby, I will restrain myself and won't get it in later. Listening to Fu Runze saying such words, her face turned red at the moment. Now this man was becoming more and more unscrupulous, and she couldn't accept being inferior. You said it, whoever can't help it later will be the puppy. The fact that the little girl had the courage to say such a thing was indeed something he didn't expect. Okay, but don't cry, baby. His hands touched her softness, and his lips kissed her forehead, nose, lips, collarbone, and then kissed her softness. Shen Yunzhi couldn't help but hum. At this time, her voice was like adding a fire invisibly, which burned Fu Runze unbearably. With a tearing sound, the packaging bag was torn open, and it was another sleepless night. It's just that in the end, someone is still a dog. It was already noon when Shen Yunzhi woke up, and the scene from last night was replayed in her mind. Fu Runze had really kept his promise, but she saw that he was really uncomfortable, and she also wanted a baby. So in the end she blushed and asked him. It was precisely because there was no obstacle that Fu Runze was particularly fierce tonight, and she couldn't resist it at all. At this moment, I felt pain for the first time. She got out of bed and walked around slightly, and was shocked by the strange feeling in her legs. Why is this bitch like this? As soon as Fu Runze opened the door, he saw the little girl sitting on the bed. As soon as she got out of bed, her face suddenly turned red. What's wrong, baby? He walked up to Shen Yunzhi and touched her hair. You still have the nerve to say it. You are so outrageous. Oh, it's because his baby feels embarrassed. Baby, where did I go too far? Seeing Fu Runze's innocent and unaware look, she was really angry. This man is so shameless. It seemed that he was too kind to him. Fu Runze, don't pretend you don't understand. Don't even think about sleeping in the same bed with me this week. From today on, you'll sleep in the guest room. Fu Runze stopped talking for a moment. He was so mean-mouthed. He insisted on taking advantage of this. If he did something like sleeping in separate beds for a week that would kill him, he would really cry. It seems that the only thing I can do is coax the little girl. I'm sorry, honey. It's my fault that I couldn't control myself last night. I shouldn't just care about myself and not care about your feelings. I will definitely take good protection in the future so that this situation will never happen again. Baby, do you think this is okay? Shen Yunzhi didn't expect that he would actually talk to her seriously. Thinking of it, she took the initiative to let him. Last night, you can't blame him. After all, he was really holding back at that time. Okay, I'm hungry. She just wanted to skip this topic quickly. After all, she really couldn't bear to talk like this in broad daylight. So baby, forgive me? Let's see how you behave. She didn't want to forgive him so quickly and had to teach him a lesson. Then honey, can you please stop letting me sleep in the guest room? He has a wife, so how could he not sleep with her at night? Then can you just sleep? Shen Yunzhi had already figured out his routine and was determined not to fall for it. Fu Runze looked at Shen Yunzhi at this time, as if smiling. Baby, you have to tell me what kind of sleep is pure. It just can't be like that. You can't kiss or touch me, you can only hug me. If you can accept it, then accept it. If you can't accept it, get out of here. I'm so annoyed, this bitch has his tricks everywhere. It was Fu Runze's turn to be speechless. It was okay if he couldn't do it. He had really wanted it a bit fiercely in the past few days. He looked at it tonight and it was swollen, but he couldn't touch it or kiss it. He couldn't bear it. But he still had to stabilize his baby first. Okay, I'll listen to you. Seeing Fu Runze agreeing so readily, Shen Yunzhi felt that something was wrong, and she always felt that this man had some tricks up his sleeve. So honey, can you go to dinner? She nodded and was about to stand up when she was suddenly hugged by Fu Runze. Looking at Fu Runze with a harmless look on his face, he said, how about I wash the baby first? After all, it will be a little uncomfortable if it's too much. This bitch man has the nerve to say it. Looking at her red face, Fu Runze was afraid of making the little girl anxious, so he hugged her without saying anything and went to take a bath. Shen Yunzhi was at his mercy. After taking a bath, I put her into fresh clothes before taking her to eat. But looking at the big tonic soup on the table, she really wanted to say it wasn't so exaggerated. But she only dared to complain in her heart. After all, if she really said it out, Fu Runze would probably do it even more exaggeratedly. After dinner, she accompanied Fu Runze to the company, but she always felt that Fu Runze seemed to have something on his mind. Although he still stuck to her as usual, she always felt that there was something strange and she couldn't put her finger on it. She didn't like this strange atmosphere and just said whatever she wanted to say. Is there something wrong with you? She looked at him worriedly, and Fu Runze kissed the corner of her mouth soothingly. Why can't you hide anything from the baby? She didn't want to chat with Fu Runze at the moment, so she just looked at him, as if they couldn't move on as long as he didn't bring up today's topic. You'd better tell me. It's nothing, actually. I just didn't wear a condom last night, so there might be hidden dangers. Baby, you are still young, and your body is your own. It is up to you to decide whether to have a baby. I also want to say sorry to you. It was me who couldn't control myself, but it is you who should be held responsible for this. She didn't expect that Fu Runze was thinking about this. But she really likes children, and she would be even more looking forward to it if it was her and Fu Runze's child. As, you are worried about this. I like children very much, so I think it's nothing. Because I know it's you, and it will only be you in this life, so I am looking forward to the arrival of this child even more, so don't worry too much. I'm sorry, baby. I asked you to take the risk. I will never be so self-centered again in the future. Fu Runze rubbed her neck with heartache. He held her in his arms and didn't move. He didn't want the little girl to suffer like this, and he didn't want to see the little girl take medicine. Sometimes I really feel that he can't control himself. Why didn't he stop the car last night? But he was so happy to hear that his baby was expecting their child. Hey, is this sweet suffering? When he arrived at the company, he specially selected the employee elevator and held his wife's hand in it, which was very exciting. But he also felt a little regretful. Many people were peeking at his wife, and he didn't like it very much. His wife belongs to him alone and no one can interfere with her. What should I do if my wife is too charming? When he arrived at the office, he went to work. Shen Yunzhi didn't know why this man suddenly became angry until a certain CEO turned around and said aggrievedly, "You don't even know how to coax me. I'm jealous." Shen Yunzhi couldn't help laughing when she looked at this childish man. He was a dignified CEO, so this was inexplicable and weirdly cute. She couldn't help but reached out and rubbed the man's face. As, are you jealous? But I will always be seen when I go out. Do you want to be jealous too? Want. But I will hang out with my good friends. Do you want to be jealous too? Want. Do girls want it too? Want. Seeing his aggrieved look on the verge of tears, Shen Yunzhi became even more excited. The man's tears were the catalyst for her excitement. She loved him, however, I still had to coax this man now, otherwise I might lose my waist by night. Are you so jealous? Then I can be your little pendant. Shen Yunzhi couldn't help but touch his head. Why is Fu Runze getting cuter and cuter? She is so cute. Fu Runze suddenly became unhappy again. Baby, I don't want you to be my little pendant. You have your own life, and I am not everything to you. Although I will be jealous, it does not affect my love for you. You don't have to change anything. Just coax me. Yo, although Shen Yunzhi was moved by him. But this dog must be pretending to be pitiful. Who let this be her man? Pamper me. Okay, I'll coax you. But it's up to me how to coax you. Fu Runze seemed to be exposed all of a sudden, and glanced away guiltily. She knew the dog had no idea. Okay, Zay, hurry up and get to work. Remember to make more money to support me. Shen Yunzhi ran to his lounge to rest. After working for a few hours, he came into the lounge to see if the little girl was awake. The little girl seemed to be having a nightmare. As, don't leave me. I like you. As. The little girl suddenly woke up from the nightmare, looked at the man in front of her, and suddenly threw herself into his arms. She just had a nightmare and her thoughts went back to her previous life. Why do I dream about my past life again? She is a little scared now. Fu Runze hugged her and comforted her in a low voice. Baby, I'm here. Shen Yunzhi suddenly remembered that maybe this dream was reminding him that there was something he had not done yet. She suddenly remembered that the reason why she fell in love with the scumbag in her previous life was because she mistakenly regarded the scumbag as her savior. But later she discovered that Fu Runze was her savior. She never knew why Fu Runze liked her. Maybe it has something to do with this. Little brother, she shouted tentatively. Fu Runze froze. He had never thought that Shen Yunzhi would say this. He always thought that his little girl had forgotten him, but he didn't expect that she actually. Fu Runze couldn't believe it. What did you call me? Shen Yunzhi looked at him and said word by word, I said, little brother, I miss you so much and I like you so much. Baby, why did you suddenly? He was so excited. I ignored this matter before, but now I just want to say, little brother, we are still together after going round and round. Yes, they have a happy family. Fu Runze's life has been smooth sailing, there is nothing scarce, his parents are also very open-minded, and the family is very harmonious. Now, his little girl came to him. He lowered his head and kissed her forehead, reverently and passionately. Thank you for coming to my little brother's side. Fu Runze had been lost before and was abducted by traffickers to a remote place. Although Shen Yunzhi was the daughter of the Shen family, she was not with the Shen family at that time. After all, such a family could not tolerate her. So by mistake, Shen Yunzhi rescued him. Because for Fu Runze, it was Shen Yunzhi's appearance that gave him hope during those dark days. As for Shen Yunzhi, it was Fu Runze who saved her from the gangsters. All she knew was that the person who rescued her lived in a very remote place. She tried to communicate with him through letters, and they bonded. Baby, I really like you. Fu Runze hugged her tightly. He thought, let the little girl accompany him all the way. Little brother, let me keep walking with you. He didn't expect to hear Shen Yunzhi say this, and Fu Runze's eyes became wet. Looking into Fu Runze's eyes, why hadn't she noticed that Fu Runze was such an emotional person before? Although it was quite sensational now, she really wanted Fu Runze to cry all the time. I like Fu Runze so much that I couldn't help but kiss him. It's over, the boss was seduced by her. Does her waist need to be protected again? After the passion, Fu Runze took her to have lunch. He held her hand tightly and refused to let go, as if he was clinging to her like a puppy. But Shen Yunzhi also liked him like this. I want to go ride the Ferris wheel. It is said that couples who kiss at the top of the Ferris wheel will stay together for a lifetime. She never believed in this, but as long as she and Fu Runze were involved, she wanted to try it no matter what. Fu Runze also followed her and rode the Ferris wheel. Although this is just a rumor, their happiness is real and the person in front of them is real. She and he kissed at the highest point of the Ferris wheel, symbolizing their undying love. I will love you forever, day and night, and will never stop. Shen Yunzhi responded with fierce kisses, one after another. Shen Yunzhi suddenly burst into tears. This time, it's not about anything. Just because she caught the person she wanted to catch most in her life, this time she was finally moved to tears. Fu Runze used to stand in a place where she couldn't see him and tell his deep love. Now he stands in the brightest place and listens to the person he loves most tell him his love. God still favors him, otherwise he would not be so happy. Shen Yunzhi felt a pity that she didn't have time to take a good look at the starry sky on the Ferris wheel. Now she took Fu Runze to watch the starry sky again. Fu Runze took her to a place that was very quiet and had a nice night view. The night was particularly beautiful tonight. They held each other's hands and didn't need to say anything else or make any intimate gestures. They just sat casually like this, standing on the grass, looking up at the endless night sky. It turns out that happiness is so simple. It turns out that if you hold the hand of the person you want to hold the most, you don't need to say any more words, and the happiness in your heart is almost full. There are no shooting stars tonight, but Shen Yunzhi still wants to make a wish. May she and her little brother be together forever in the next life. I hope everyone can bravely express their love. May lovers eventually get married. I hope everyone will have no more misses and regrets. Could you please make a wish? Shen Yunzhi looked at him expectantly. Fu Runze couldn't resist her look, so he had no choice but to comply with her wishes. I hope my baby will always be healthy and happy. Sue did not expect that Fu Runze would say this. After all, she thought that Fu Runze would say that he would be with her forever. Seeing the confusion in her eyes, Fu Runze touched her head with his big hand. There is no doubt that we will always be together, but I hope you can be healthy and happy. Nothing is more important than this. Treat me the same. The same as you. Shen Yunzhi didn't expect his thoughts, and now she was so moved that she wanted to drop the little pearl. Baby, don't cry. After all, I just made a wish right now. I didn't even make any promises. I hope you can see my sincerity in the future. My little princess will naturally go smoothly, be healthy and happy. Shen Yunzhi felt that she was about to fall into the tenderness of Fu Runze's eyes. She couldn't help but say, you are both my knight and my prince. Then may the princess and her knight be together forever. A princess and her prince are never separated. Complete text. I hope everyone can be brave enough to express their love. Because everyone deserves to be loved.